Hey there, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. So I try to come to you a couple times every week to talk to you about relevant things in the real estate market or with regard to buying and selling real estate. I am not a real estate agent. We are a title company that protects homeowners and their home ownership rights. And we do home closings to try to protect that interest and make your closings simple and smooth. So today I wanted to talk about something that actually has come up in our office, and it's definitely a relevant topic. So I try to bring things to you that have to do with things that you may experience with regard to real estate. But sometimes when other people have experiences, I like to share those because they may be things that could come up that you don't know about, that may be something that you experience somewhere in the near future. So good morning, Angela. How are you this morning? Thanks for tuning in. Hey there, Andre. How are you today? Thanks for tuning in. If you're tuning in live, check in and say hey. Also, if you're tuning in on the replay, certainly message me and let me know that you are on. It helps me gear some comments and things based on who's actually tuning in and what kind of information we should talk about. So, and if there's anything that we should talk about that you have a question about, you can either message me individually, you can do it through this broadcast, but I love sharing things that help you because they might help others too. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So today I want to talk about property taxes because this is something that actually came up recently in our office. So there's a lot of different things about property taxes that you need to know. So first of all, let me just explain how some of it works. First of all, the property taxes on the property that you're purchasing are what's considered a first lien on your property, which means that if you don't pay your property taxes, the county or the state can sell your property to recuperate those taxes without any regard to anyone else. You, your mortgage company, anybody that would have an ownership interest, they can sell that property and not even worry about any of you. Now they have to notify you, but they have to notify you of the address that they have on file. So if you've moved or if you're renting that property out and you didn't change your address with the county tax assessment office, then the tax notifications may be going to your tenant or whatever address you have in there. And if you don't have the proper information with them, they are not responsible for following you or tracking you down. So with that said, the county tax assessor is the first lien on your property. So it doesn't matter if you have a mortgage, doesn't matter if you have 4 mortgages, it doesn't matter if there's several different owners in several different areas. The county tax assessment office is the ones that are going to get paid first. So what does that mean? How could this possibly happen that my taxes don't get paid? Because a lot of people will say, well, I have a mortgage and they're paid in my mortgage. Well, yes, they are. But let's talk about a couple of different scenarios that could happen. So first of all, in some jurisdictions, and let me qualify this by saying that, I usually try to say if what we're talking about is something that is specific to Maryland and Virginia where we're licensed to do work, then I'll qualify that. But this is one of those situations that this is true across the country. The difference is maybe how the tax bills are paid, how frequently, when they're paid, and how the notifications may get to your lender. Different jurisdictions do that differently. So I'm going to talk about this for a minute because I want you to be proactive about this because this is really important, as you can see. So in some jurisdictions, the tax bills come to you personally, and then you have to send them to your mortgage company to make sure that the mortgage company can get those paid for you. Because every month as you're making your mortgage payment, the mortgage company is collecting 1/12 of that tax bill and 1/12 of your insurance bill to make sure that those bills are paid. Why do they do that? Well, this is one of those reasons. They want to make sure your property taxes are paid because their mortgage is not protected if those taxes don't get paid, because the county can sell that property at a tax sale and they can lose, you can lose your house, they can lose the security for their mortgage. So they want to make sure that that's paid. That's one reason the lender collects the taxes and insurance in your monthly mortgage payment. The insurance, obviously, they want to make sure that that bill gets paid because if your house burns down, they want to make sure that their mortgage is secure as well. But for the purpose of this conversation, we're talking about property taxes. So let's talk about that a minute. So the lender has a billion different loans that they service and that they make sure those property taxes are paid. Every jurisdiction collects them at different times. They collect different amounts. They go to different places. So the mortgage companies actually have, a lot of them have what's called tax servicing companies or service companies that actually manage all of that for them. But to be proactive, because this tax bill is so very important, you need to make sure that the mortgage company gets a copy of that bill. So even if you've been told that the mortgage company gets the bill directly from the tax assessment office, I would ensure that when you get that bill in your hand, that you send that with a mortgage payment, or you find out from that mortgage company where the tax bills and the insurance bills need to go, and send them a copy of that bill, or send them the original bill and you keep a copy of it. Because how important is this, that they get that bill and make sure it is paid? As I said, the county can actually sell your home at what's called a tax sale to ensure that that bill is paid. And so if they sell that property, they're going to send you notification saying, hey, you haven't paid the tax bill. And if the tax bill comes to you at a different address than where you receive your regular mail. For example, some people actually have a P.O. box, and I get that. And so they get their mail at a P.O. box. Well, what if the tax people have your actual property address listed as where the mail goes? Well, you don't have a mail receptacle there, so they actually send the mail there, and no mailbox is there. So the mailman says, well, we're sending the tax bill back, and the tax bill goes back to the county. Then the county sends a notification to you saying, hey, you haven't paid your tax bill, and we are going to sell it at a tax sale if you don't pay it. Again, they've sent it to a mailbox that's not there, and the mailman's sending it back. So, and you don't necessarily have any way of knowing this. So you need to have in your radar, number one, when do your tax bills come due? So in Maryland jurisdictions, they come due on July 1st, but you have until September 30th to pay them. And that you can pay it either for the whole year at that point, or you can pay for half of the year at that point. If you pay for half a year, the second bill comes out December 1st, and you have until December 30th to pay it. A lot less grace period there on the second half. And in Maryland, the tax bills are paid in advance. So when that bill comes out in July, it actually covers July 1st through December 31st of that year. In Virginia, as you can tell, this is a specific to our area. The conversation is not, but when the tax bills come out. In Virginia, the tax periods are the same, but in Virginia, the taxes are paid in arrears. So when you pay that, get that bill on July 1st, July 1st, it actually pays from January 1st that already happened up until June 30th, right before the day the tax bill comes out. So they pay their tax bills in arrear after the taxes have come due, or after the tax bill that time has gone. So in Virginia, the timing's just opposite than it is in Maryland. And as I said, every jurisdiction is different. So if you have in your radar when your tax bill should come out and you don't get a bill somewhere within 30 days of that, you need to be calling somebody. That is almost more important than your mortgage, because if it's not paid, they can sell your house and they can kick you out without any regard to that mortgage being paid, to you living there. Then they will sell it at a tax sale. Now there's some time frames after they sell it at a tax sale that you have to redeem or pay that tax bill. But what happens is the person who bought it at a tax sale has now spent some costs, and so your tax bill is going to be a whole lot more, because you're going to have to pay a redemption fee to the county, you're going to have to pay some interest to the county, you're going to have to pay some fees to the person who bought it, maybe attorney's fees, maybe some interest, maybe some other things, obviously what they've spent. So you're going to have a whole lot more expenses. So when we talk about your property showing up, or your home showing up in the county newspaper, what happens is when that property is getting ready to go to tax sale, in most jurisdictions, the county has to advertise it publicly, and they want to, because they want somebody to pick it up. They want somebody to buy it. So they'll advertise it publicly, and so that's where the comment, hey, my friend saw it in the paper. If you don't read the paper, I'm not a really good news person because I feel like there's a lot of negativity in the news, but that's one thing that we always look for, is paying attention when tax sale time is. So you may want to make sure of that if you're not staying up on your property taxes. So that's one key. Make sure you know when your property taxes come due. Make sure that you're checking to make sure that they got paid by the mortgage company, because what happens if for some reason it didn't? So find out when that comes due. Most mortgage companies wait until the very last minute and they send a wire with all of the tax bills that they have to pay to the jurisdictions with a reporting of what they're paying to who. So usually the county is not very able to be able to give you information at the end of the period of when the due date is, because unfortunately they get this barrage of property tax payments and notifications. So it may be a little bit after when that final payment is due, the last payment available date without interest, that they're able to give you an update because they get so many at one time. So don't be afraid of that. That happens a lot. And so you're just going to have to check up. But put some of these dates in your calendar. Call your county, find out when your tax bills are due, and put them in your calendar so you have this on your radar. Now let's talk about something that's totally different that deals with property taxes, because this is what spurred the conversation that we're having today. So if you bought a brand new house that was just constructed, in a lot of areas, because of the way the property tax system works, the county may assess what's called a supplemental, an improvement tax bill, an additional tax. So you need to have this conversation. You bought a brand new home. Call the county or talk to the company that did your closing, or talk to your mortgage company and make sure that someone addressed that additional tax. And here's what I mean about that. So you bought a brand new home. When you bought that brand new home, in some jurisdictions, the property taxes were only charged based on the land that the house sits on. And the reason for that is because the county didn't know when that house was complete what the full value was going to be. Hey there, Nancy. How are you today? Hey, Lee. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, Phil. Hey, sweetie. How are you? Thank you all for tuning in. So the county can only charge what they know to be an actual expense. So they originally, while that house is being built, they're only charging for the land the house sits on. Well, that's a really low valued rate. Usually it's a couple $100s because of the size of the property, depending on the size of the property. Of course, that could vary, but it's a very small value. And then what they do is once the house is complete and the use and occupancy, or the occupancy certificate, is issued, once the inspectors are all done, making sure everything's done properly, that the builder did everything they needed to, then once that occupancy certificate is issued, then that's a trigger to the county to say, hey, let's get out there, let's see what this house is really worth, and let's charge the rest of the tax value on that. So if when you went to closing, no one addressed that additional tax bill, it wasn't collected on your closing disclosure at the time you closed and held by anyone to pay that bill, the mortgage company didn't collect that additional amount, that money's not sitting in your escrow account, you're going to get a tax bill that says, hey, you owe this additional money. And if you if you didn't pay that tax bill, again, what did I say? The county that collects your property taxes, that tax bill is a first lien on your property, and they will sell your home to recuperate that tax amount. So you need to make sure and have this conversation with somebody. If you bought a brand new house, hey, did somebody address this additional tax? Or I'm not really sure I understand what this means, but I just want to have this conversation. Is there going to be an extra tax? Is there going to be an impact tax? Is there going to be... it can be called many different things depending on your area, but if you bought a brand new house, more than likely there is going to be an additional tax somewhere in the next 6 months, 8 months, and you need to make sure that someone has addressed it, someone's collected it, and that it's something that is being taken care of. Or if you're responsible for it, that you understand you're going to be responsible for it and you have that money set aside to take care of it. Because it could be a kind of significant amount, because this isn't a semi-annual amount. This is a catch-up amount that the county is going to collect based on what the value of your property is. And so we saw, this wasn't a closing that we handled, but we heard about through the grapevine because somebody called and asked us the question, because we talk about these things all the time. So somebody called and asked the question, what is this? What happened? One of my friends called me and said, hey, my home showed up in the tax sale section of the newspaper. What the heck does that mean? And my house was being sold at tax sale for $1,500. Which was a catch-up or an improvement tax, an impact tax, many different things that it can be called. So make sure you understand how important the property taxes on your home are and that you know that they're getting paid. If you have questions about this, just like anything else, we're always here to answer any of your questions. You can reach out to any of us. All of our emails and contact information is on our website, footetitlegroup.com. You can reach out to me, Connie at footetitlegroup.com, or any of our team members in Maryland and Virginia. They're all well versed in both areas. If we can help you with answer any of those questions, and even if you're not in one of those jurisdictions, ask the question. We'll do some research and find out the answer for you in the jurisdiction that you may have the question about, because we like to help you get information and empower you to be able to answer questions that you may come across or things you don't understand. The home buying process should be one of the most fun and exciting times, but there's a lot that goes into it, and we want to help you understand those things. Remember, you have the right to choose who does your home closing. By law, you have the right to choose who does that, and it's very important to make sure that you understand who's doing that home closing, because your home ownership is protected by who does that home closing. So you want to make sure that you're working with somebody that you know, trust, and you can make sure that they are protecting your home ownership long after everybody goes home and you have the keys and you're decorating your house. So hopefully I helped you guys with some information today. I love passing on thoughts, questions. So if you have any, please share them with me. And if you felt like what we talked about was valuable, please share it with other people. All you have to do is click the little share button at the bottom. I would love it if you would do that, because then you can help people that you know understand some of the things that we talk about. I love talking to you guys today. I hope you have a fantastic Thursday and a wonderful, safe, happy Memorial Day weekend. Please remember all of those that have been lost. That's what Memorial Day is all about. And I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Thanks for tuning in to Coffee with Connie, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.